What do you actually have to do that no one else can do? And at first I used to think, well, other people aren't going to be able to do, these things that I do that,
They'll never care as much as you. That's the hardest part because it's your baby, right?
Right.
And they'll never love your baby as much as you do, no matter how hard you try or how much you want.
Facts. But what I will say it did really push me to do, though, was to get very, very, very clear on. So this is the other thing, too, that we talked about a lot, which was there's CEO Asia working on the business, and then there's Asia who's responsible for delivery in the business. And those two are often in tension with each other. There are two wolves inside of me at all times, and they are always in conflict because one wants to go in one direction and the other has to deliver shit. And so what he would really push me on is, what do you actually have to deliver that you can't delegate? Someone else can't actually replace you on this. Or if you do replace yourself on this, it's someone of your skill level, expertise, et cetera. And that really pushed me to also get very focused and clear on what do I actually need to ship? And what can I put on someone else's plate and teach someone? Like anyone could actually do this, or a certain type of person could do this, and it wouldn't take as much away from me or drain me or what have you. And it would still be profitable and valuable and yada, yada. The client would ultimately still get the end result at the end of the day, but it didn't fall all on my shoulders. But that also really kicked me a lot to think about how we operationalize our projects. And when Asia is wearing delivery hat, where is she actually contributing value that no other people can deliver? And that also really kicked me to just get it together on terms of delivery. But
I describe it in a similar way when I talk to people about this, like, what is the work that only you can do?
Right.
Because there's like this weird overlap of there's the things that you love to do that give you energy that either don't produce enough value for you to like spend the time on it. And when I say value, it's like, is it a high value task? Do clients pay a lot of money for it? Like, what are the things there? Do we do it enough? Do we not do it enough? And can we offload it even though it's hard? And I think that's the linchpin to this. Like, how do you offload it even though it's hard, or even though it might give you energy or might take your energy? But either way, your ability to do the act of teach another person to do a thing to your level of comfort. Not even there's a standard and a quality that comes with, like, your name's attached to it. And ultimately, like, if it's not good, it's your fault, or it's our fault as like the person, as like the owner. But to do it and emotionally let go of it, like, what are some of the things that you ended up letting go of? And what are some of the things that you ended up keeping? And how did you end up just kind of working through that and deciding and getting people up to speed?
Yeah. Like, what are some of those tasks that I was like, I don't need to do this anymore?
Yeah. I mean, so like, well, what are the main things that you own today compared to a couple of weeks ago or a couple months ago or a couple of years ago, and the things that only you can do? I think that's the thing, is people look and they go, it's all of it, right? Like, it's just you're so immersed in it. You're a lot of your identity is so baked into all of the things. So to try and separate yourself from and say, I could teach someone this versus only I can show up on the call and talk to the client. I'm the only person with my face.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's a very common trope in agency world where it's like you get introduced to the leader or the director or the executive that's like that's the person that's like really the brains, so to speak, or like they're like the face, the show pony. And then they disappear like week 2. Mm-hmm. And then now you've got
the junior AD.
Exactly. No, yeah. That for me, it was very important to me that in Demand Maven that was not the case. And there was a time where I think we kind of tried to go the agency route, but I learned that in order for quality to still be a factor, I still have to be pretty heavily involved. Or I do hire someone who probably has like a 6-figure salary and like maybe they're full-time, but they have like similar or equal experiences to me, or like a similar focus on growth for SaaS PLG companies, which is a very specific skill set, at least for me. But what I deliver now, I've not really replaced myself. And I don't necessarily intend to, but where I have not replaced myself, what I still am very much responsible for is I'm still the lead strategist for all of our client projects. I am still part of the data gathering process. So on the qualitative side, when we run interviews, which is a part of every project, doesn't matter what we do, like there's always some type of interview component. I'm not the one running them anymore, so I have let that mostly go. Alina actually is the one who runs all of our interviews, but I run all the debriefs. So the strategic discussion that happens after the end of the call, like I'm listening, I'm taking notes. It's actually better for me personally. Am I a pro at interviewing? Yes, but I've learned I don't have to display that anymore. I can actually trust others to do that for me. I will interview if my team is out. Like, so if Alina is on vacation or whatever, or she can't, I'll still jump in, but it's not nearly the intensity level as if it were all me by myself. And like, yeah, I was the only one, but I still run the strategic conversation or discussion after. I've actually heard from the team, like if I'm not there, which is extremely rare, it's just not the same. and it's because, when I'm lead strategist, so I'm not expecting anyone else on the team to kind of step into those shoes. It still very much is me. And it's really interesting too, because we do get questions from clients of, like, Asia, are you going to disappear like week 2? And I'm like, no, I'm literally here like every day. I'm here. I'm going to be here. You're going to see me.
I have nowhere else to go.
Right, literally. And when it comes to quantitative data gathering, so when I'm digging into like different analytics platforms, or I'm asking the founders and CEOs and growth teams for certain metrics and KPIs, I mean, that's still all me. We've tried delegating that kind of thing before. It just doesn't hit the same way. Like, you just really need to know where to look. And the only way I feel like for me to really pass that knowledge on is to literally write a book. And that was actually part of our discussions too, of like, maybe I just should write a book. Like, maybe like in order for people to get this knowledge into their brains, like it needs to be that. But it just kind of felt like I almost would rather just hire someone with expertise and experience. Teaching someone something, it just hits different depending on what it is that we're teaching. And there were certain fundamentals and certain experiences that I had that were just really difficult to try to like incept into someone else's brain. And this is something that Kim and I we would talk so much about this, because her perspective very much was, you should really hire someone who's got this expertise. But when we look at like what we're selling and like the profitability of each of those projects, it just doesn't make sense to right now, at least. It's not that it's not teachable, but it's really, really hard. You can certainly pass on knowledge, but passing on wisdom, I think, is very different. Or passing on experience is very different. And that I just feel like can't always be replaced. So we learned quickly that like, okay, when it comes to the quantitative analysis side, it has to be Asia. Like, it's not going to be anybody else, at least yet, on the team, unless we hire someone, which is different. And then from there, I don't produce all the deliverables anymore. I think I mentioned that already. So jobs to be done usually as a part of our process. We'll produce like a job insights brief. There are like positioning and messaging guides that we'll produce. And there are various other deliverables that we may come up with. I'm ultimately the one who decides at the end of the day what we deliver and how we deliver it, because I'm lead strategist. That makes sense for me to do. And then there are some deliverables that I will still create myself. But now I'm learning actually how to use AI to help me create stuff based on stuff that I've created in the past. I know AI gets a bad rap, but for someone like me who doesn't always have time to like do all the things, using my own artifacts and my own data to create things based off of things that I've made, AI has actually been really awesome. So there's a growth strategy brief that we will create usually in a project, or a go-to-market strategy brief, either one. And that is basically like my entire brain on a piece of paper based on the project, what we observed, and what my recommendations are, and how I'm going to make those recommendations and what that person or what the client should do. I'm still very much in charge of that, at least. But some of the other deliverables, not so much. So that was like a long-winded answer for like, what am I still responsible for? Those are the big ones. Of course, there's CEO Asia, which is financials, resource management. So like, how much capacity do we actually have? How many projects can we layer on? Yada, yada. There's that, of course, but that is not as outsourceable. It could be. I could certainly find a business manager, but we're not there yet.